In a small coastal town, there were dark legends about people who disappeared at sea. Sailors whispered of ships vanishing without a trace, with no one ever returning. 10-year-old Ethan had grown up hearing these stories, but he never imagined that one day he would be aboard one of these cursed ships. One day his father surprised him. "Next week we're taking a trip on the SS Phantom." Ethan was excited, but something about the ship seemed off. At first, everything seemed normal. Ethan explored the deck, feeling the salty breeze and watching seagulls. But as the sun began to set, the mood shifted. The sky darkened, thick clouds rolled in, and the wind picked up speed. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Ethan noticed his father was growing tense. As night fell, things took a strange turn. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows, and the entire ship was soon plunged into darkness. That's when Ethan heard the footsteps above. Ethan couldn't resist. He snuck out of his cabin, following the strange, heavy footsteps echoing on the deck. When he stepped outside, his breath caught. A shadowy figure, cloaked in mist, stood at the ship's bow. He blinked, and the figure was gone. Suddenly, the ship lurched as if it were being pulled by an unseen force. Through the fog, Ethan could barely make out the outline of a dark, unfamiliar island ahead. The crew panicked, realizing they were being dragged toward it by the wind and waves. The ship crashed onto the island's rocky shore. Ethan's father grabbed his hand tightly, whispering, "We shouldn't be here," but they had no choice. The ship was damaged, and they had to disembark. The island felt wrong. Twisted trees, strange shadows, and an unsettling silence surrounded them. Ethan saw movement in the trees, but when he looked closer, nothing was there. As they ventured deeper into the island, they stumbled upon a towering, decaying castle, its gates creaking open as if welcoming them inside. Reluctantly, they entered the castle. The air inside was cold, and every step echoed through the long-abandoned halls. Dust and cobwebs covered everything, as if no one had set foot there in centuries. Ethan and his father explored the eerie rooms, but something felt off. Suddenly, Ethan heard a whisper, at first soft, like the wind, but then louder. It was as if someone or something was speaking directly to him. His father's eyes widened in fear. They both had heard it. Whatever it was, they weren't alone. While exploring, they found a hidden passage behind a tapestry. The captain, Ethan, his father, and a few others entered, hoping to find answers or an escape. But once they stepped in, the door behind them slammed shut, trapping them inside. The tunnel was dark and damp, the walls covered in strange symbols that spoke of a cursed kingdom. As they ventured deeper, the whispers returned, growing louder, as if calling them toward something or warning them to turn back. At the end of the tunnel, they emerged into a vast underground lake. In the center, an eerie, glowing orb floated above the water. But the lake was not calm. Something stirred beneath the surface. Without warning, a massive shadow rose from the depths, a monstrous creature with glowing eyes. It let out a bone-chilling roar and began to move toward them. Panic set in as the group scrambled for a way out. Ethan's father realized they needed something powerful to defeat the creature. Ethan remembered an ancient sword hanging on the wall in the castle's main hall. It seemed like their only chance. They raced back through the tunnel as the creature chased them. its massive form slithering along the walls. They reached the sword just as the creature closed in. Ethan's father grabbed it and, with all his strength, plunged the blade into the creature's heart. The creature let out a deafening screech before collapsing back into the lake. The orb flickered and disappeared, and the entire island trembled. The ground began to shake, and the castle walls crumbled. Ethan and his father barely escaped as the ancient structure collapsed into ruins. They raced back to the shore, where the SS Phantom had miraculously been repaired. As the ship sailed farther from the cursed island, Ethan took one last glance back. Through the thick fog, he saw something or someone standing on the shore. Two glowing eyes pierced through the mist, watching the ship as it disappeared into the horizon. Ethan shivered. They may have escaped the island, but deep down, he knew the curse wasn't over. The Phantom ship would sail again, and the dark legend would continue.